looks at what you guys saw from the game film against Grambling State and what you're looking forward to this weekend with Hawaii.
Well, certainly the game against Grambling, there's a lot of things we have to fix. All three phases. As coaches, we talked about what we're doing, scheme-wise, what we're doing personnel-wise, and how we got to get better. And there's no question. You got to give them some credit. They had a good plan. They executed well. We certainly didn't tackle well. We didn't execute well offensively in large parts of the game. But again, everything that we did not do well, we think we can fix. And so our guys, again, have been very conscientious. They had a good meeting in practice yesterday, and then we'll get better because of it. And we got to. And we got to get better, and our guys will do that.
Rich, what's the first thing you want your defensive coaches to tell the personnel about dealing with shifty players, like what they saw, guys that can really cut the stick and move real quickly like that?
Yeah, the biggest thing, and we knew the running back and the quarterback and some of their skill guys were really good, is you have a tendency, if you miss a tackle or two, then to become more tentative and not be as aggressive. And you kind of play passive defensively, and we don't want to do that at all. I hate playing passively. You know, you gotta see the ball, get the ball. You gotta be aggressive, and you gotta play more than anything else. You gotta play with confidence. And once your confidence gets shaken, sometimes it's hard to get back. And we try to get our guys to play with confidence and trust their eyes. Our recognition was a little slower than I thought it can be defensively, and then our reactions, I think, were tentative at times. And in the second half, it was a little bit better.
Martin made the comment that tackling-wise, it was all about finding the angles, and that's what they missed during the first half. Is that what you saw?
Well, some of it's angles, sure. There's always a reason why you miss tackles. Sometimes you put your head down. Sometimes you have a poor angle. Sometimes the guy's just a little shifter than you are too. So I think it's just what I told the guys: you're going to miss a tackle. You know, what I don't want to do is get them to come up there and come to balance, so to speak, and sit there and then hope that they make the tackle. Just go get it. See the ball, get the ball.
Coach, how would you assess Brandon Dawkins' performance?
It was uneven. I thought he competed very well, made some plays with his feet, created some things which we thought, but probably missed some things too he'd like to have back. You know, there was a couple throws. But more than anything, we got to get his eyes right. You know, a lot of times it was good, and his decisions were good, and sometimes his eyes were not in the right spot, and his decisions weren't as good. And, you know, typically for a quarterback that having a lot of experience, that's usually can be an issue. But he's been in the program long enough, and he understands what we got to do to get better, and it's important to Brandon, so he'll get better.
Did he improve over the course of the game?
He did with his eyes and his decision making, and I think he calmed down a little bit. Became a little bit more accurate, and we dropped a couple passes too. But again, I think Brandon has a lot of skills, and he's got some experience in the offense, and I think the more he plays, the better he'll get. And we'll find out more about Anu later in the week. But we have two guys, and those two that have some experience now, and I think they'll both learn from the first two games.
You said with Anu on Saturday that it was kind of a freak thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the kind of freak thing that you say, well, there's not much we could have done about that? Or is that the
Yeah, it's just an accident. A guy slipped, and it was a wet turf, and got rolled up from the side. But probably fortunate that it wasn't more serious.
Are you going to appeal Cody Ippolito's
I'm
targeting?
gonna call, and I don't know what the process is for appealing, but I'm gonna call and at least see the interpretation. You got two penalties, and they were bang bang, and I understand the safety of the players, and you have to do that. But I think, again, in my personal feelings, is that there was no intent to launch or injure or anything like that. And I know what the rule says. Targeting is targeting, and you're out the game, and you're out the first half of the next game or the second half if you're in the first half of that game. And that's a pretty severe penalty for something that's you're not sure about. If a guy launches and puts his head down and spears a guy and then looks like he has an intent to injure, now, yeah, he should be thrown out and sit out the next game. But in a case like that, I don't know. That's a pretty tough penalty. So I'll discuss it with him. I'm not overly optimistic they'll get anything changed, but with that and a couple other issues that came up in the game that I'll call and discuss and see what their interpretation was.
When you say call, you mean the Pac-12? Right?
Yeah, I'll call the Pac-12 folks.
Is one of the other ones those delay of game on
Right.
the defense?
Yeah, that's the other one.
Explain what they would.
Yeah, and understand the rule is you know, the offense has the right to say a cadence, you know, their hut or go, whatever they say. And on defense, you can't simulate that. You know, you can't go as a middle linebacker and say go and make the offense jump off sides like they're listening to their cadence. It's an understandable rule. It's there for that reason. And they called that. We have some calls on defense that makes our guys move into position. And the interpretation I got was that was being interpreted for them as making them jump off sides. And when they're ready to snap the ball, you have to allow them to say go. My question was simply, well, how do you know when they're going to snap the ball? If they're sitting over the ball for 15 or 20 seconds in no huddle, do you have to like sit there and ask, when are you going to snap it? Because I'd like to make my call. Let's see, let's wait 10 seconds, let's wait 5 seconds. So my argument was, if they're a no huddle team, and you don't know when they're going to snap the ball, do you just have to ask, Mother, may I, before you can make your defensive call? Or do you, I mean, what is the time that you're allowed to make your defensive call? And so that was my argument, and basically would be my curiosity when I call the league.
Can you update us on what's going on with the Haka dance? I believe Fuimata wanted to bring it back.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, our players have wanted to do it. And I don't know all the politicalness of it. I just know that was somebody got all upset about the Haka for whatever reasons, so we didn't do it. And so we were told, well, it'll be okay if you create your own. And Sonny Fuimano worked his tail off this summer to create one just for Arizona and Arizona football, and has been slowly trying to teach our guys it, and I thought it was really pretty remarkable what he put together. But I still think there's, from what I understand, there's still some objections to even when you create your own. So I think he's going to try to do it, whether we can do it on the field or have to do it in the locker room. But I thought it was a neat tradition, and it was actually honoring that, not trying to take away from it. So, but, you know, we live in this political world where, you know, everybody gets upset about something. I mean, in my opinion, just mine, come on. I'll get in trouble for saying that, but come on.
No, that's okay. So you're encouraging and you believe what he's doing is a good thing?
Absolutely. He's doing something for our guys, for our program, and something that's, I mean, I guess you could go and develop your own break dance and do the worm and do all that stuff, and it probably wouldn't upset anybody, and it would be happy, but it wouldn't be the same intensity or same kind of tradition that we like to have and had at Arizona football. You know, I don't know if you know, doing a worm and break dancing would upset anybody, but it probably would be hard to do in the student section.
So he's trying to honor and he's celebrating those.
Absolutely.
There were, I think, 3, maybe 4 occasions where the game slowed down because of instant replay checks, and obviously you want to get calls right. But when that happens, does that affect the flow of the offense for you?
It affects the flow of the game for everybody. I feel more for the people that are watching the game. I mean, you're sitting there, and I understand, you know, you want to get the call right. That's why I think it's the replay is terrific. I think it's, in college, we get every play reviewed, and that's a great thing, and usually they're pretty quick, but it seemed like there were a couple that were abnormally long, particularly one there at the end of the game. I think it's like, I mean, how many times, to me, if a call is made a certain way, and it's taking you 5 or 6 or 7 minutes to review it, then it's not indisputable, so you keep the call as it is. If it takes you that long to decide whether right, wrong, that tells you the decision right there. So I get frustrated by that only because I know our players want to play, and I know the fans want to watch the game. They don't want to hear the ding, 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 you know, the Jeopardy theme and all that kind of stuff. I mean, review it 4 or 5 times. You got a couple eyeballs on there, and make a decision. Move on.
You guys were 0 for 3 on your first 3 fourth down attempts before Brandon obviously ran for the touchdown. Was there any common theme in the ones that didn't work?
Yeah, I would have liked to have better calls and better execution. I mean, it was really bad. I mean, it's those short yardage things, you should be 80%. 4th and 1s, or you should be 90%. And you give them a little bit of credit too, but that was really disappointing and all the way around.
Did you ever work on going straight under center for the situation?
Yeah, we got some of that. But it wouldn't have mattered. If you go under center and don't execute, you still get stopped.
About where you expected them to be? at
No.
this point?
No, I'm a little disappointed, certainly, and including us coaches. You want to be 2-0, and you want to be executing better. But I'll say this: the conscientiousness, the attitude, the effort, the kind of want to has been there. We have practice at 7 a.m. Everybody's there 15, 20 minutes ready to go on the field. We have a meeting. Guys are 10, 15 minutes early. So that's important to them, and they know we got to get better. But I would have thought would have executed better offensively in the first half, certainly, and then I also would have thought we would have got more than 0 3-and-outs and against Grambling.
Coach, asking this question because you're playing Hawaii. Do you ever talk with Dick Tomey?
I do. In fact, Dick is back in Tucson. For all you Wildcat fans, maybe I shouldn't say that, but he is, he's moved back here in town. He was just at practice the other day, and we talk about every week. Dick's great. In fact, it's kind of right. I just saw this note. He's the winningest coach in school history of both Hawaii and Arizona. So great coach, even better person, and I'm happy to have him back in town. I told him come over anytime. I'd love to sit down and. He's won a lot of games, been in this profession a long time, and a really, really good friend. So it's glad to have him here close by.
Would you ever agree to a trip to a locale like Sydney, Australia, the way Cal and Hawaii did?
We were actually asked from the Pac-12. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it or not. What the hell? What we got to do? No, they approached us about playing a game either next year or the year after with a league opponent. I think maybe it was Colorado, in Australia, to open up kind of like Cal did. And I didn't want to give up a home game, but then I heard it was a 16-hour flight, and I'm like, maybe not. That's a long flight. I haven't talked to Sonny I'll talk to the Hawaii coaches and see what they thought of it. I think it was a neat venue, and they did a terrific job of putting. From what I understand, they did a great job of hosting the two teams, and it was a pretty neat environment. But we don't have anything planned for the future.
Coach, what did you see on tape, and what do you plan to do to address the slow first half starts that you guys have had?
Well, certainly we got to try to do something to get us in a rhythm offensively, where we can get some first downs and getting some confidence. I think once we, not unlike any other team, once you get in a rhythm offensively and you're getting some first downs and some momentum, it's easy to take off from there. We haven't done that in 2 halves in a row, opening game in our game. So we got to try to do that, come up with some play calls that are easy, which we thought we had in the last game, and then simply just execute better. We just got to execute better to come out of the gates.
Rich, I got a chance to see Brett play on Friday night. After his third touchdown, he came off the field and he mentioned that he wanted to score 8 in the game.
He was feeling pretty froggy, wasn't he? Yeah, he was.
When did you first see that type of competitive drive with him?
Oh, probably since he was just starting walking. It's the one thing about, he's the only recruit I can talk about, I guess. The one thing about it, it's really, really important to him. He's grown up around it his whole life, so I'm pretty proud that he's earning everything he's got. He didn't get to throw it a whole lot. I think he was like 11 for 14 for 400, so that was a lot for him, certainly. But he enjoyed, and we've never been one to push him into sports. I think a lot of times coaches' kids are naturally gravitate toward that anyway. But he's wanted to play ever since, and he's always wanted to play quarterback. And so I think, I've been proud of the way he's approached it and how important it is to him. And I come home, and it's late, 10 o'clock or so, and he just got home after a 3 or 4 hour practice and meetings, and he's watching film again. So it's important to him. He wants to be really good, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I kind of watch it both now. I used to just watch as a dad. Now I watch as a dad and a coach, just in case he asks me a question about something, I can answer it.
Are you watching more him, or are you watching the coverage and saying to yourself, I hope he sees this, we talk about that?
Yeah, a little bit. And we'll talk about it during the week. In a little bit of time we have, I'll say, okay, what do they do? What coverages are they playing? What's your game plan? What's your thoughts? And, like every quarterback, he'd like to throw it 50 times a game. But, yeah, we'll talk. And he understands schemes because he's been around his whole life.
When both punters were using kind of that rugby style, those low line drives, what do you want the punt returner to do in that situation? Do you want them to catch it? I mean, it seemed like those are difficult to catch.
They are. Part of the reason that you do that is so it's hard to handle the ball, because the ball obviously is shaped funny and it bounces in funny ways and what have you. Normally, as a rule, as a returner, it's kind of the same rule when you're trying to recover a fumble or something like that. If it's low, below your knees and squirming around, you're better off just falling on it. If it bounces above your knees where there's some space, then sure, scoop it up and take off a little bit. So, and then when Nate Phillips being hurt, we had the young guy back there, J.J. Taylor, and so he got a little bit of experience with that. And we got to get him going even more anyway.
What did you think of the decisions that he made?
I thought he was good. Yeah, I thought he was good, and he returned one for a few yards, and I'm excited for J.J. We keep talking about getting him in the game more, but we'll make a better effort to do that.
What's your biggest concern right now with your pass defense? It seems like at times you're dropping 8, but there's still
that we got to be more aggressive, and not necessarily from a scheme standpoint, but from a recognition and a reaction standpoint. You know, let's trust your instincts, trust your coaching, trust your ability, and be aggressive.
Coach, Sonny and Paul were kind of quiet all night. Was that because of scheme, or was that just?
A little bit, yeah. I think some of it was scheme, and they spread us out and attacked certain areas and voids and all that. But and then it wasn't our best. Sonny, I thought, played solidly, but Paul always plays hard, but he can play better.
4 games in a row, all starting at 7:30 or later. Is that concern you, bother you?
Well, I've always said, you guys know, I'd rather play early. I mean, I'd rather play it. I like to have 11 o'clock a.m. time. That would really mess Hawaii up, But yeah, I mean, wait until it's not even 7:30. It's 8 o'clock. By the time game's over, with 5-minute instant replay reviews, it's midnight, and then you get home at 2 and come back at 6 a.m. It's a quick turnaround, but. It is what it is. Pac-12 after dark, when they tell us what time to play. I understand that the Washington one was moved. I think somebody said it was like 2:30 or 2:50, and then all of a sudden it got moved to 7:30. But I kind of expect that early September. Most of our games will be at night.
What do you think about the way receivers got separation last weekend versus the weekend before?
It was good a couple times. I mean, we missed a couple touchdown opportunities, and we had the big one with Trey, got the touchdown, and we got some, Samaje and Nate and Trey and somebody got some explosiveness at wide receiver, so we could separate a little bit. But when they challenge us, we've got to be able to take some shots. That's the one thing we talked about, that we've got to take, and we did. We took a couple shots and got 1 or 2 and missed 1 or 2. But every team is going to challenge us. Starting with Hawaii, they'll challenge us too, and we got to be ready to take some shots if they do that.
Rich, assume you saw the Oklahoma State game and the last play by the Cowboys. How would you have handled that situation, trying to kill the clock with 4 seconds left?
Well, I think again, I don't want to be in the business. When I was in TV, I was in the business of critiquing coaches. When I'm a coach, I don't critique other coaches. I think they admitted there was some kind of officiating error there, and so the game should have been over. So what he did shouldn't have mattered. But it's a lesson that, it's a situation that what happened there is, I have a list of about 50 different scenarios that we try to work through in camp, and one of them is killing the clock and toward the end of the game and all that. And so we talk about which play would kill 5 seconds, which would kill 8 seconds, and go through that, and we try to follow that lead.
When you look at some of Brandon's early misses, or at any point throughout the game, were there mechanical things there, or some of it just first game jitters? What do you think?
A little more mechanical, both with his timing and his footwork, particularly in the pocket, and a lot of times, more than anything, like I said earlier, with his eyes. With our offense, a quarterback is he's involved in every play, run and pass, as far as decision making. Almost every play he has to make a decision. Not every play, but almost every play he has to make a decision. So his eyes have to be in the right spot. And there's technique and other stuff along with it. And there's a lot on a quarterback. I mean, I think it's the hardest position to play in sports, period. But that being said, we work on it every day, and that's the expectation of our quarterbacks. And Brandon, again, he wasn't he made some really good plays, and he's going to be a really good player. But there are times it looked like his first game he started, and he'll get better for it.
The fourth down play where he scored the touchdown in the north end, was that a design run for
No.
him?
No, but Coach Smith had told him that if we got man coverage and you step up in the pocket and you see green grass, go. And that's what he did. He stepped up, and there was a guy open, but he was being coachable. He saw what what Coach Smith told him, and he took off. And he has the ability to create because he can run. He's sneaky fast. He's not fast, but he's sneaky fast. He's got long strides. So, he has that ability, and that's something as we saw from the other guy on the other team. It's hard to defend a quarterback that can outrun your linebackers and maybe your safeties. That's a tough deal.
Anything more for Coach?
Okay.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.